This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming the gorgeous, the sexy, the lovely Lori Tucker. You all remember her as the hot sexy girl in the jail cell in Van Halen's classic music video, Hot for Teacher. And, well, I mean, that video shaped all of us men's lives, huh? And we're going to talk about that today. She was also in Bob Seger's American Storm, Roger Waters' Sunset Strip. That's the one where she's got the poodle and the monkey. Peter Frampton's Lying, LA Gun Sex Action. She also guest starred on an episode of Airwolf. And it's going to be a great conversation today. I can't wait. Lori's been popping up on a lot of nostalgic podcasts the last few years, and I didn't really register Lori Tucker and the Hot for Teacher video, but after watching her on one particular podcast, I was like, man, I got to get her on. We'd have a great conversation. I just love her energy. She's so positive, and she's so friendly and sociable, and I think that we'd have a great talk. So that's why I'm having her on today. And I cannot wait. March Madness has been a great month, and it's only going to keep on getting better and better. So yeah, here is my interview with Lori Tucker. Hey Lori, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. We're having a little rain here in LA, which is a catastrophic event on the freeways because nobody knows how to drive here. But other than that, it's going great. How about yourself?
I am equally having that amount of rain here in Modesto, so I totally get it.
Yep, okay. We get spoiled here with all the sun, and then it rains a little bit, and yeah.
Of course. I can't tell you what a great honor this is. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, going back in time, did you model early on in your childhood?
Yeah, I started around, I did a little bit, 15, 16, but got an agency when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
And through that met a agent from Paris, and then they had me come out. And so when I turned 18, I left for Paris and stayed there a year and modeled, and was really, really lucky and able to work and travel around the world and do some really amazing jobs and trips. Yeah, then I came back here and worked for about a year and a half, and then went back to Europe for another 2.5 years, and
Yeah.
lived in Italy and Germany, a little bit in Zurich, traveled again, and then came back in 1984, which was a really good year.
Yeah. Wow.
Good year to be in LA, for sure.
Yeah. So, where were your favorite places to visit?
Well, I tell you, the first trip I got when I went to Paris was to the Les Deux Alpes in the French Alps.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Olympics there. It was Grenoble, France, and that was pretty amazing. Although being from the Valley and from California, I froze to death. I think I've died twice. That was for Adidas, and that was amazing. But the second trip I got was to the most amazing place called the Maldives, and that was just an utterly crazy trip. It was just beautiful, and I was living in Paris, and it took about 24 hours to get there.
Mm-hmm.
From Paris to Zurich to then ended up landing in Saudi Arabia 15 hours later, and then another plane to, I think, Sri Lanka, and then another plane to the main island, and then a boat finally to our little island that was only about a mile around. And that was for a bathing suit commercial.
Nice.
So that was one of my favorite, actually.
Wow, did you get to go all over Europe?
Yes. So yeah, it would be booked in Sardinia, Italy, and then I would be booked in the Black Forest and Tokyo or the Seychelles Islands. Yeah, it was really the best part of that job.
Hmm. Are you born and raised in LA?
Yeah, I was born in the Valley. I'm an actual Valley girl. Oh my God. So, yeah, I was born and raised here. Besides living in Europe, and I come from a huge family. So I have six brothers and two sisters. So there's nine of us, and we
Wow.
kind of lived all over the Valley. I was born in Northridge, lived in Sherman Oaks by the fabled Sherman Oaks Galleria. um, yeah, everywhere. So it was an amazing, I think it's an amazing place to grow up. There was just a lot of creative people come here. So you have a lot of musical artists,
Yeah.
actors, actresses, singers, dancers, and you just come across a lot of really interesting and creative people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of melting pot that way.
Were you guys Catholic?
How did you guess? With the
Because
nine kids,
most of them have like 9 or 10 kids.
right? And living in like three-bedroom homes with everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, they were Catholic. Yeah, I am assuming the pill by the time my mom was taking it was not working or she wasn't doing it right. So, no, it had to have been around at some point. But yeah, it was actually a wonderful growing up in such a big family, and we're all really close, and we all still pretty much live in within driving distance. So yeah, that was an awesome thing, and everybody did something different for work. And my sister was a cartoonist; she was with Hanna-Barbera
Wow.
and Warner Brothers and Bakshi and Filmation and Hannah,
Wow.
all those places. So that was always fun to go visit her at her work.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
is
meet the animators and the artists and things.
that is so cool. What number are you on the sibling list?
I'm number six.
Nice.
my Yeah, my parents had five kids and then had 5 years, and they got amnesia and
Hmm.
forgot they had five kids, and then they had four more. Well, I'm in that batch. I'm in the four more batch. So yeah, there's a quite an age spread, and yeah, lots of boys, but we've since made up for that with nieces. So
Yeah.
we've got to even the field now.
Yeah,
But
my dad's number 5 out of 6 kids, and my aunt, she was
oh
the oldest.
yeah, there you go. I mean, I just have tons of my nieces and nephews now have children, so it's crazy, but I love it. It's fun coming from a big family. It really is. Christmases are insane. So,
Yeah,
but
my mom had 4 miscarriages between me and my brother. There's a
oh my gosh.
there's a 9 year difference, and so like
Oh.
I always jokingly say I am the other 4 kids because I'm a handful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Oh my gosh. Well, my mom had two miscarriages, so we would have had 11 kids. But yeah, that's the spread.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
interesting,
I think that's God's
but
way
you
of
learn
saying
you learn a
stop.
lot from the old. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So, so did you love rock music growing up?
I did. Our house was filled with so much music. I remember just going by my sister's door, and she'd be playing Cream, and then my brother James would be playing R&B because he liked to dance and listen to R&B, and my brother George would be listening to Iron Butterfly.
Nice.
And my parents loved music, but my brother John, I would have to say, was my biggest musical influence. He's 5 years older, and we were, really close. And he's the one that would come home in the middle of the night when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old,
Mm.
and had bought an album, and he'd wake me up and take me in his room and say, okay, he'd put it on the record player, and he'd say, memorize this part, you're going to sing this. And then he'd work the chords out on his guitar, and then we would literally listen to the album the whole night, and he'd play a little bit and I'd sing a little bit. And
Hmm.
albums are literally, I think, brainwashed into my psyche, So listen to all the European rock from way back, early Genesis and
Oh.
Uriah, just all
Mhm.
those 70s, Zeppelin, Jethro Tull, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple was really loved Deep Purple too, and just right on through. And having lived here, the Sunset Strip was just, we had stuff in the valley too where people played, even Van Halen. But the strip was insane. So
Mhm.
it was just show after show and band after band, and everybody flooded here to play at the Whiskey and the Roxy and the Troubadour and the Rainbow Room and, all those places. So we got to see a lot of bands early on when they were getting their start, and they all come back here and still come and play once in a while at the Whiskey. Michael Monroe's playing next month, and
Nice.
yeah, just everybody. It's really great. And at that time, it was just insane scene on the strip. There was
Mhm.
more people outside than there were inside the clubs. It was like walking down Fifth Avenue at rush hour in New York. It was
Yeah.
just a party outside too.
Did,
So it was, yeah, a really amazing time to be here.
yeah. Do you remember
Yeah.
your first concert?
Pardon, my first concert.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my brother John. I think I was 12. He and his friends took me to see Bachman Turner Overdrive
Mm,
video.
love
You ain't
them.
seen nothing yet. But my second show, I believe, was, well, it's 1975. I got to see Led Zeppelin at the Forum out here.
Wow.
77, got to see Pink Floyd. Um, just, yeah. And from then on, everybody I could. The Who, right on through the 80s and 90s. And I still see a lot of shows. That's my happy place for sure. So I have a lot of friends in bands, so I go and watch and support them. And we have a lot of great venues here, so everybody comes and plays in LA. So I'm really fortunate to be able to easily see bands when they come,
LA had
which
this
is
LA had this organic scene back in the day where they had the hard rock people, the new wave people, the punk people, the Paisley Underground people. It was so
yeah,
magical. There was no internet. Everybody knew each other. You know,
yes.
there were all these clubs. It's different now. You know.
Oh, yeah, it's different. There's just a few places keeping it alive, and there's little places popping up now where people can go and jam and things. But you're right. I mean, I would be on the strip seeing Warrant, and then I would, later on that night go to Prince's birthday party because I knew his girlfriend at the time,
Wow.
at his club, and yeah, and dance to Purple Rain and whatever. So it was a real mishmash, but it was just such a creative time, and the shows were just, no matter what genre you were seeing, it was really magical and so full of energy. And somebody the other day said to me, there was some music playing, and they're like, "Ah, I wish they would play, some 80s music because it was so much happier." And this was a young guy,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, they really should. Everything was really, um, you had a kind of positive vibe to it,
A
so
lot of
full of
optimism.
energy. I just remember that.
Yeah. A lot.
But it was really interesting being here and then going on. I was a high fashion model. I did runway, and that's what I was doing in Europe and
Mhm.
commercials. And when I got back in 1984, that's when MTV had hit. Shortly before that, and now I was getting music video interviews to go on. And the first one I did was a Diana Ross Julio Iglesias music video,
Mhm.
and then, but my second one, I remember just, we had answering machines, right? But I had to call my agency in the morning and all throughout the day to see if I had more interviews or what was going on. And I remember I called them in the morning, and she was giving me my interviews, and she'd given me one for a commercial. and then another one for a commercial. And then she said, and then you have one for Van Halen at this and that casting, blah, blah, blah. And I just remember my jaw dropping because I was a huge Van Halen fan prior to ever, going on that interview.
Yeah.
I had my cassette player and my Van Halen one when I was living in Paris, and I overplayed that till I burnt the cassette up, and my roommates hated me for playing it so much. So going on that interview was nerve-wracking, and of course I'm very professional. And so just go in, and it's just the casting director and the the person who runs the camera, and I had to do an improv. And luckily, I'd gone to like Lee Strasberg's Theater Institute and done some showcases and things like that. And so I did a lot of improv work, which comes in handy because that's what you have to do on a lot of interviews.
Oh yeah.
So I did that, and I ended up booking the job. And then I think it was a few days after they said, that I had it and that they booked everybody. They said that I had to go back to the casting office and wear a 2-piece bathing suit. And I'm thinking, what do I have to do? And it was for Van Halen again. I thought, oh gosh, maybe they changed their mind, but it wasn't that. They just wanted to meet us prior to, going to the set. So went in, and then the casting person said, oh, come on in. The guys are waiting for you. And I'm like, the guys? What? Walk in, and there's Van Halen sitting there. Dave and Mike on one side, and Alex and Eddie on the other. And that was a little bit of a blow mind, Walked in, I shook their hands. It was really professional, and we chit-chatted, and afterwards I said, well, that wasn't too painful. And Dave goes, it was for us. So he's such a character. But anyway, So that was an amazing video to work on.
I was six or 7 months old when the 1984 album came out. My dad had it on vinyl along with the first album.
Yeah.
Used to play them over and over again, and apparently Jump was the first song I ever danced to when I started walking.
Your kudos to your dad, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, he got me into them from the get-go, and he had a videotape with all the videos, and along with Bruce Springsteen and Wing Chung and everyone else who was big on MTV at that time. Used to watch that over and over again till I wore out the tape.
Right. There you go. I have the VHS. I think I also have the DVD compilation of all of Van Halen's music videos.
Oh yeah.
To that point, because they split up after. So, but yeah, that's awesome. Do you still have that?
The tape, I wish I had, because like I said, I wore it out. I should have kept it as a souvenir, but I never did. I do have certain videotapes from childhood that still play. I have a VCR, so they still play.
Right.
I try not to watch them that often because I don't want to wear those out.
I know, that's the thing. Me too, and I have some VHS. But could we kick ourselves for getting rid of our vinyls, then getting rid of our VHSs and beta tapes, and then getting rid of everything, even CDs, and now I'm collecting everything back.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And there's some bands. I listened to a band called The Funeral Portrait, and they just put out a VHS, which I thought was such a cool marketing thing. So I have that. Can't wait to play that. But it's newer, so I'm not worried it's gonna break. So, but yeah, I think we all long for those pre-technology days where we're on our phones and on our computers, and everything was so much more organic. You wanted to go see people, you had to go out and socialize. You had to go see shows. You couldn't watch them on YouTube or replay them on Netflix or whatever, So it was, I think that's why the 80s has such a resurgence. Number one being just such, I think, the best decade ever.
Yeah.
But, just get back to that simplicity and organic, time. It's and as a lot of people I'm friends with a lot of people that have 80s pages, and they're huge. Some of them
Yeah.
have over 1 million followers, and because it's just, even, so many of the young people long for that time. They see it,
Yeah.
and wish they could be there,
I
wish they could have lived through it.
yeah, because
And they
I
keep saying too, yeah.
yeah, because I was born in 1983, right? And like around 94, 95, I discovered VH1, the big 80s, and that's like what kept it going for me because MTV had stopped playing all those videos and now VH1 was doing it, and I was just like, God,
Right.
this is so cool. I get to see stuff that, I didn't see the first time around.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I remember when VH1 kind of took over that slot. And gosh, I really think they could still bring back videos from at MTV. It'd be
Yeah.
popular. Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
But they should just have a whole 80s to mid 90s,
Yeah.
or,
So
93, I think, when it started, right before grunge, which grunge is fine, but I mean, if, the
yeah.
videos were just so amazing out of the 80s, so creative, and everybody put everything they had into it.
Oh yeah.
I've done a few more recent ones, and that was fun to do,
Hmm.
revisit that part.
Yeah.
But
I wanted
yeah,
to I wanted to
ain't
bring up.
nothing like this.
Yeah, so I interviewed the little bully boy from A Christmas Story, and he was little Alex Van Halen in the Hot for Teacher video.
Right, right. Oh, that's so funny. I
Yeah,
love it.
I didn't even realize it until I was doing my research. This was back in 2020 when I talked to him. I was like, "That's right. That is the same kid." I didn't realize it.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Yeah, isn't it a Christmas Story?
Yeah.
They all did a lot. Those kids were really really funny and fun to be around. And I was stuck with them. So I'm in the jail cell scene,
Hmm.
and I have to push poor young Dave down about 100 times while we're filming. And we were just all, for hours and hours, you sit there for 30 seconds of tape, right? So you get really punch drunk and giddy, and everybody's cracking dumb jokes. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just felt like I was in a room with my brothers, because that's how it ended up. But
You're perfect for
yeah,
the job.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And it was really cool because somebody on YouTube
Mhm.
had gotten a hold of somehow and released like a lot of raw footage from the Hot for Teachers shoot, as well as a bunch of Van Halen concerts and other
Mhm.
footage. And it was just a plethora. It was like a treasure trove of fun watching it, because it was just the raw, uncut stuff, before they edited and
Yeah.
used the whatever they wanted. So I, got to see us filming the girls and I filming the scene with older Waldo, which is at the end section. It says nobody's sure what
Yeah.
happened to Waldo. Became Waldo after graduation.
Yeah, he's a pimp.
So yeah, yeah, that was really fun to see. And all the other things, like the dance scene that they have where Alex is so out of step.
Yeah.
I remember on the set everybody laughing, and we were all getting a kick out of that. And other things, but I knew it, and they took it down. Warner Brothers came in and made them shut it down. But
Yeah,
we
but
knew that was going to happen. So
yeah, man, I never saw it
unfortunately,
too.
yeah,
That's sad.
exactly. Yeah, because everybody, of course, was posting about it, and Warner Brothers kind of just got wind. So really sad, because that's fun stuff. People were
Yeah.
longing to see that.
Yeah, that was
So anyway, the diehard VH fans.
now was that Marty Callner who directed it?
It was
Or
Friedman.
Rick Friedberg?
Yeah, Freeberg.
Okay.
Rick Freeberg.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I know a child actor who I'm friends with on Facebook who's been on the show. He said that
Okay.
Friedberg directed it, and his kids were in it. And I'm like, are you sure it's him and not Marty Callner? I could have swore it was Marty Callner.
No, yeah, it's Friedberg, and Kramer Goodwin produced it. But the
Hmm.
thing is, yeah, Rick was the director, but he was a little, he was mad because Dave took over directing, and he ended up really directing a lot of that video.
Yeah.
Which we could complain, but look at the video. We got a great, piece of
Yeah.
history there. But yeah, he knew it. Dave, I think, was the creative person for most of all of that, and he did a great job. So I don't know why they just didn't let him do it in the first place, but
Wow.
I remember, on the set, the whispers of, "Oh my gosh, Rick's mad."
Hmm.
But
Did they
what
let
can you
you?
do when you're working with Diamond Dave, right?
Yeah. Did they let you keep the dominatrix outfit?
No, I know, I was just, Brian Hitchcock, he, um, had kept his Nobozo shirt and his vest and I thought I was the only one that kept their call sheets. I have 2 of the 3 days. I know the third one's somewhere because I keep finding them in different, you know, boxes and places. So I have day one shoot and day two. But I saw that he had his because I think there was 4 days for the kids because they had extra other scenes to shoot. But
Right.
um, so he sold that as a lot, and I think Julian's Auctions sold that for him. Oh, as well as the small Frankenstein that Eddie had signed for him.
Hmm.
And but then the person who bought it turned around and was, I think, sold it for triple or something like that.
Did you ever see Van Halen live?
Yes, I did. Well, also, I was so happy to be at the 2015 show
Hmm.
when Dave was back. Mike wasn't doing bass; it was
Oh, Wolfgang.
Wolfie. But
Hmm.
to see them play, and it turned out here at the Hollywood Bowl, and it turned out that was their last show, the last time. Dave, they all played together like that. The last time Wolfie played live with his dad, I'm sure they jammed at home, but
Hmm.
live show. So it was a lot of lasts that show. So it was really felt blessed to have been there.
Yeah, I saw them in 2012 and they were fantastic. And I shit you not,
Yeah.
Cool and the Gang opened.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. That's a get the crowd going.
Yeah.
Ladies' night.
Yeah, Dave was fantastic. Uh,
Yeah.
you were also in Bob Seger's American Storm.
Yeah, well, what happened with that? I got booked to do Peter Frampton,
Hmm.
All Eyes on You, and I went on the interview, and that was another interview right when I walked in the door. Peter was sitting there with the director. So I guess, I don't know. They just picked some people that they wanted to see. They didn't have a big casting call. I guess they just picked a certain amount of people and came in, and
Right.
so I got booked for it, and we shot at the Palace Theater where he did his live performance stuff, and we did hair and makeup, and that was kind of our base. And then I had a scene going right down the street up on Hollywood and Vine. There's a big door, and I was supposed to walk up to it and I knock on it, and Tommy Chong's supposed to open the door
Yeah.
and I'm supposed to say, "Is Peter there?" And he's supposed to say, "Peter's not here, man," which is from their classic "Dave's Not Here, Man" skit from Cheech and Chong,
Yeah.
and a couple other things. So um, Tommy was out of town. He lives in LA, but he was out of town in New York or something, and he
Hmm.
missed his connecting flight or his flight, and so he didn't make it. And we had shot all night and shot the majority of the video. So my part didn't make sense, and I didn't make it in. But the prior to that, knowing that, I guess the director said, "Well, listen, I'm doing a Bob Seger music video next week. I don't have a part for you. But there's going to be a lot of actors and actresses in it. But I want to be there. I'll find something for you to do." And I was like, "Okay." And they paid me and called my agency and booked me. So I went, and it was Randy Quaid, who was a really good friend of mine from the early days when I was
Yeah.
doing Theater League and stuff, and a whole bunch of really great actors and actresses. And I ended up just in a restaurant scene, kind of walking by. So I didn't end up. I say that's the tale of two videos. I didn't end up really just one little peek on that. But I did do the L.A. Guns sex action. It's myself and a girl named Roxanne through the whole thing, and that was
Yeah.
a really amazing video to shoot because it was so they were such a Hollywood trash metal band
Yeah.
got their start there. It was Tracy Guns, who was Guns N' Roses, and then,
Right.
started LA Guns. And we didn't have permits or anything, and we just shot. We probably did, I would say, 10 different locations in one night. Of course, it was all night long till the sun came up, but it was all night. So we shot at the Roxy Theater, we shot on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, we shot behind the Palace Theater, we shot on Mulholland Drive, downtown LA. And we just like total, just run from one to the next scene and do it. And it was really fun. And at one point, Tracy Guns is like, "Hey, can I drive with you?" Or I forget where we're driving, but I'm like, "Yeah, hop in." And I had a little sports car, and I had done this mixtape of Alice Cooper with like As Far Back as Prettiest for You, and that stuff. And he was like, "Oh my God, Alice is my favorite." I'm like, "Me too." And so I just remember driving down Hollywood, Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard with Tracy just jamming to Alice Cooper. And he was such a great guy. He's still he's a really nice guy, and still has LA Guns, and they're going strong. They play all the time.
Oh yeah, they are. They are the most prolific of all those '80s metal bands because after the hit stopped, they kept on going.
Yep, they did. They had little breaks as far as who was doing what, but they stayed. And I think they play almost every New Year's Eve at the Whiskey, which is really fun. And then it's so funny. There's that, oh God, what is the documentary, this rock documentary. So I always took my Polaroids on the set. So unfortunately I couldn't with Van Halen, they didn't allow us. But I took it to all the other sets and have really a lot of fun Polaroids. And I have a lot from LA Guns. And I kept going, God, where's my Polaroid with Tracy? I don't have Tracy in my Polaroids. And this rock doc came out, and Tracy's talking. And then it looks like a page from a scrapbook, the old magnetic ones where you pull the thing and you put your pictures in and you fold it. And there's a Polaroid of me and Roxanne and Tracy. I'm like, there's the Polaroid. I just saw it. I took a picture of it. I was going to post it soon, but I'm like, okay, that's where the Polaroid went. I must have just handed it to him, and said you can keep it or whatever. But and then I shot with Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, and that was a huge honor because just being a longtime Pink Floyd fan, I don't know who doesn't really like them.
I seen Roger Waters live. He was doing.
Yeah, there you go.
He did. He did the whole Wall album in its entirety, and it was fantastic.
I would die to see that. My son actually got to go and see it, and that night I could not do it. I was out of town or something, but I would absolutely love to see that. But he's another one that was in on the interview, but he wasn't there on the shoot. We were just shooting up and down Santa Monica Boulevard. It's called Sunset Strip. And I have a monkey on my shoulder, and I'm walking a dog, and a Great Dane is following us. But
you looked fine in that video, I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You say all the right things.
Thank you.
What do I owe you for saying that? Pizza and all the beer you can drink or something?
I'll take the pizza. I don't drink no more.
All right. I don't drink either. some soda. But that was a really, really super fun shoot. And then I did hip hop with, well, it wasn't hip hop, but Rick James.
Rick James, yeah.
More funk. That was interesting. And I did a Dwight Yoakam, which, I'm not a country music fan, but I love things like, I love people like Hank Williams Jr. and some of the old school stuff. But so I was really lucky to do a lot of really fun projects with a lot of fun artists. It was something that I cherish, and I feel grateful for being able to do during that time.
Weren't you considered for the California Girls video?
When that happened, I don't know how much time later, Dave's people called my agency and said that he had wanted me for it, but I was booked on a very lucrative Pantene commercial. And although Van Halen paid well, because they went through Screen Actors Guild, so we got, day rate, and at that time cable fee was new, so we got more money for that. So that actually was actually very good money for that time, if you consider the difference between now and then, and but they usually paid, like $500 maybe, you know, for videos, maybe a little bit more, just depending on the artist and the budget and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the commercials, residuals, you can get thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So my agent was like, no. But hindsight, I would have rather done Van Halen, but
Mm-hmm.
what can you do?
Yeah, I've talked to Dave. I've talked to Dave's girlfriend from that time, who was in his first three videos. Durga McBroom.
Yeah,
She was Pink
yes.
Floyd's backup singer.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. Did you
Yeah,
have an interview with her?
I've had her on twice. She's awesome.
Oh, that must be, I could say that must have been fun.
It
Some good
was.
stories right there.
Oh, there's a hilarious story she told me. I've heard her tell other people too, where her and the Pink Floyd guys and her sister and the other backup singer, they would have this in joke where the night of the last gig on the tour, the guys would surprise the girls by exposing themselves to them, right?
Oh, great.
And then
Yeah.
during the show, during the encore, the girls would have their backs turned, and without the audience knowing it, they would have their nipples exposed to the guys, surprising them that way.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the great expressions on their face without.
yeah, I could just
That's fun.
imagine.
Oh yeah, you can imagine. Lot of hijinks back in the day.
Oh yeah. So getting away from the videos, you guest starred on Airwolf.
Yeah, that was such a. I loved that show too, and when I was younger, and I used to think I was going to marry Jan Michael Vincent when I was like 12 and 13 years old. I was like, I'm going to marry him. But yeah, it was fun to work with him and Ernest Borgnine. My scene wasn't with them, but they were on set, and I got to meet them and talk to them, and I got to talk to Jan on other occasions as well, at some events. But it's funny because I got into Universal where the interview was, and I was actually reading for another part, and it was the part in the same episode of the accountant girl that is talking to him about his expenses and things like that. And I read it, and the casting lady goes, just hold on a minute. And then she left the room and she came back. She said, you know what? I know you're here reading for this, but we really want you for this other part. Would you mind swapping it out? It's, you're a designer's models in the airport, and then you go in, and then you'll be throughout the episode. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm not going to say no. So that ended up way better than shooting the one day in a studio, because we got to shoot at LAX, and we got to shoot at Universal Studios. They have a soundstage called Soundstage 747, and there's literally a half of an airplane in there, so you can shoot and it looks like a full airplane. There's also
Hmm.
the only other one around is in Tokyo, which I got to shoot at for a Japanese airline. I got booked to do a commercial for JAL out of New York when I was working in New York. So I actually got to work at both of those those studios. But yeah, so and then we shot for almost the whole week. So that was fun. That was really fun.
Nice.
Fun episode.
Yeah, I see that River Phoenix's sister was in that episode when she was little.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Summer
Oh,
Phoenix. She plays the little girl.
oh, the little girl. Ah, gosh, didn't know that. There's a little bit of trivia there.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's awesome. Yeah.
Then then you were in the it looks like it was a faith-based film called Eminem.
Eminon.
Eminem.
Yeah, I didn't. It's really funny. At the time, I didn't know it was kind of faith based, but yeah, it's the boy that befriends a homeless man, and he ends up thinking he's like Jesus
Yeah.
or something, or a prophet. But because the guy goes around helping people, and when he helps people or is near them and talks to them, he like little miracles happen. So the boy takes this guy to his mom, who's having trouble with her fashion line in her company that she's working in. So, and makes a little miracle happen. But I play a mean model, which is just not me, but you gotta.
Yeah.
go against type sometimes.
Yeah.
So it was myself and a couple other girls trash talking. Um, yeah, the designer's clothes.
Yeah. And
But
that was
yeah,
Stephen that was
uh,
Stephen Paul's brother who made it.
yeah, it was both Stephen and his and the brother. They were both there, but I pulled a little bit of a prank because we shot on Bullock's Wilshire, of course, all night. And after the store closed at like 9 or whatever, at 9:30, we started filming. So we filmed kind of all night, and we were really tired and we are all kind of hungry. And he was standing there, and I went and took a hand off of a mannequin. I unscrewed it. I had my jacket wrapped around my arms, and I stuck the mannequin hand on my hand in my jacket sleeve. And I went up to him and I said, I didn't get to say hi yet or something. And I reached my hand out, and he grabbed the mannequin hand and jumped backwards 10 feet. I think he didn't want to talk to me the rest of the night. I scared him.
It's hilarious.
So, yeah, there you go.
And then,
You
and then
need to
you
feed me so I don't do stuff like that.
and then you did Liza the Twins.
Yeah, that was very fun. Was Isabella Rossellini and Iman I had done fashion shows in Paris with.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun to see her again. And yeah, we had done a fashion show where we had these like silky backpacks on, and she had to go in front of me, and I had to undo the backpack, and it turned into a big cape, and then I ran in front of her and she did it, and then we went down the runway like Batgirls, But yeah, that was fun to. I played a model, of course, again. But another cool thing is Victor Skrubneski. It was a really big photographer at the time. He was very iconic, and he shot a lot of iconic people. And he was out of Chicago, and being in LA, I wouldn't get a chance to ever shoot with him. So he played the photographer. Iman and Isabella had him come in and play the photographer that was taking the fake pictures in it. So it was nice. I got to talk to him a lot, and yeah, work with three people I admired. So that was very fun.
Mm-hmm. What kind of commercials did you do besides Pantene?
Oh my God! Now commercials, I probably did 75 different. So
Yeah.
I did Miller Genuine Draft. I did Michelob Light, one of those light up the night, one of those.
Yeah.
We're dancing as a loft. It was one of a series of those, popular light up the night ones. And I did Coca-Cola. I did New Coke. I did Philadelphia cream cheese, Toyota. I did a bunch of beer because I did Coors.
Oh.
I don't know, but they just liked me for beer. Special Export, Fruit of the Loom. I did a Domino's pizza,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of funny. I had responded to this vegan kid that was really, really cool guy, really cool kid, really well spoken. And I had, messaged that, thought he was really great and what he does for the community and everything like that. Well, just recently he messaged me back and he said, "Oh, thank you for your kind words from a few years ago." It was a while back. And he said, "It's cool to see that you were, video girl back then and you worked with Van Halen and stuff." He said, "My mom was a bit of a video girl in the 80s too." And I said, "You're kidding. Who was that?" He goes, "I'll show you a picture." And so he sends me a picture of Martha Quinn, who was, one of the original VJs from
Yeah.
MTV. And I'm like, "Well, I have to show you something." And I sent him that Domino's pizza commercial. I did, which she was in it. So we did it. You were in the same Domino's commercial we filmed. So I sent that to him. He's like, "Oh my God, you're kidding." So I'm like, "Yeah, I worked with your mom. Like, what are the coincidences? What are the odds?" So he showed it to her, and she's, I sent him the link and everything because evidently I think she had either never seen it after she filmed it, or hadn't seen it in a long time and didn't know, you could find it on YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was so funny, and what a coincidence.
Did you did you
Yeah,
do
she was a bit of a music video girl.
did you do any of the cores with Mark Harmon?
No, I did Coors. It was the Coors to you, the best of the Rockies is yours. That
Okay.
one. Um, Gosh, I did Sprite. I did a lot of commercials for Mexico, for Europe.
Seagrams.
Did a lot of Bailey's Irish Cream, huh?
Did you do Seagrams with Bruce Willis?
No, no, didn't do that. I remember going on an interview with Keanu Reeves for Tanqueray.
Hmm.
It was for Japan. The Japanese pay a ton of money to celebrities to do their commercials. So I remember going on that interview. Didn't get that, but yeah, I did a heck of a lot of car commercials and food. I did two Burger Kings.
Hmm.
I did one for the Breakfast Buddies, singing in the shower, singing and dancing in the shower. Um, yeah, so a lot of soap commercials, Dial and Ivory, and
Yeah.
yeah, tons and tons of that stuff. I feel like I need to get an Instagram page and just post my commercials.
Yeah.
There's a lot of silly ones too, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all on YouTube.
Yeah.
Did now, because you were playing all these sexy characters in videos, and you were a model and you were surrounded by other models doing the same thing? Did you ever get asked
Yes.
to do Playboy?
Um, only only once, and that was in Paris.
Hmm.
By There was two photographers that worked for Playboy, and they also did some fashion stuff. So I'd done a fashion thing with one of them, and he asked if I would do it, and I said no because if you're a huge celebrity and you do Playboy, it's not necessarily going to ruin. But if you're a fashion model and you're doing runway for Versace and these top designers, or let's say you're here and you're doing even a beer commercial with the Coors people who actually happen to be very religious,
Wow.
they don't want to be associated with that. I
Hmm.
mean, kudos to everybody, nothing against it at all. But yeah, my agency absolutely would never have let me do that for those reasons because of the clients and the products that would say no, we don't want that, her representing us and representing that. So I didn't. But I was really tall and skinny too, and I don't know if I was like in France. I don't care about like big boobs or anything, but yeah, here I think it was a little different story. So yeah, so not
Interesting.
not done that. I was considered for was it the sports magazine that had the yearly thing.
Sports Illustrated?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being half my brain. Sports Illustrated. I was considered for that when I was staying in New York, but I wasn't there permanently. I'd go in and out of there for a couple months at a time, or just shoot in there for jobs. And um, yeah, I kind of didn't stick around to see how that would go. So, but yeah,
Wow.
I definitely have had a really blessed career and been able to work. I even did commercials when I was pregnant. So I did a
Wow.
Burger King. When I was 8 months pregnant, they wanted a pregnant lady, so they had me with my fake child and my fake husband, and they ended up cutting that spot. I'm sipping a soda and I'm sitting with the family, where you can see I'm pregnant.
Hmm.
But when I'm sipping the soda, you can't. So they cut that into like 10 different spots. So all year long, I got paid, which was the first year that I had my child, so I really couldn't work. So it was really, really nice to, have that money while I was, not able to work. So I made a great amount that year just having that, those playing. And then they renewed my Miller Genuine Draft that year too. So that was a huge blessing in disguise. But yeah, so
What do you got going on these days?
well, I'm actually going to be hosting on the red carpet and doing interviews for the 22nd South Bay Music Awards that's coming up at St. Roque
Mhm.
in Hermosa Beach, and I'll just be interviewing the bands and the artists that are arriving. which is going to be so fun. And I'm really looking forward to that show. It's going to be amazing. And I've done a couple music videos. I do some print still here and there.
Yeah.
A little bit of commercial stuff. And it's crazy these days because it's changed so much. Now there's a lot of non-union going on. So you don't have to be with the union to work. And the pay's different. They're trying to get away from residuals and things like that. And I do a lot of fundraising, but just finished the big St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital fundraiser called the Warburton, and that's my friend Patrick Warburton, who was Putty on Seinfeld, and Kronk's New Groove, and all
Family Guy,
movies and commercials. His voice from everything.
Family Guy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, he's a good friend of mine. I worked with him often, and he got involved with St. Jude's about 15 years ago, which was awesome because I'm a mother of a cancer survivor daughter. She had pediatric cancer.
Yeah.
And she was treated at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, but Patrick came probably 4 times to visit her on the oncology floor, which is a really, really difficult place to be. And he had 4 kids himself. So, I have 6 brothers, and they found it hard to come and visit on that floor because it's tough. There's kids all around with, brain tumor and missing legs and missing arms and, going through some really hellish treatment.
Amputees.
So I always really appreciated. Yeah, and I was always really appreciated in him coming and, making that effort and not being afraid to come play with her in the playroom and visit us in the room. And so when he got involved with St. Jude's, which is an amazing hospital, nobody has to pay. They pay for food, travel, lodging, everything, treatment for the kids and their families. So they're one of the top 10 places to donate. I'm 15 years with them on their auction committee. So I love to go back and help, and they have a celebrity golf tournament, and then a singer-songwriter night, which is country western people, music jam night, which Alice Cooper headlines, and a lot of Hall of Famers play, and then they have their big gala. And we just finished that, and they did a record-breaking $6.4 million this year. So that's crazy. So they became like the #1 fundraiser in the U.S., which is
wonderful.
Awesome. So so do that kind of stuff, and host some things, host some shows, do some interviews, things like that. I did a horror trilogy last year.
Oh wow!
And played. It was called Waterless, and it's trilogy of terror, and so the earth has run out of water, so I play a newscaster in that.
I gotta see that.
But so it's just some fun stuff here and there.
That is so awesome.
And like I said, a few music videos. I did one for the Walters, and Glamhammer, which is now Slamhammer. Changed their name.
That is so awesome that you're still going,
Yeah, it's I just do it for fun now because it's great to be able to do that. And
that is so awesome.
So,
and now it's time to play my secret silly game. This is
okay.
This is a series of silly slumber party questions. It's no win or lose. It's just pure fun. And how the game works is, Lori, I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me that exact same question, and I answer it. And feel free to comment on the answers, because they might be funny.
Okay.
Okay. Lori, are you ticklish?
Yes. Are you ticklish?
Oh, yes. Mommy? I am baby ticklish, but if you tickle me without warning, I might hit you in the groin.
Okay. My brother's name's Tommy, by the way. Anyway.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Every family that has a ton of siblings has a Tommy in it. All of them.
Yeah. All of ours are named most of them after saints. At least their middle name, something like
that. Yeah. Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
Innie.
Okay.
Is your belly button an innie?
Yes, it is. What color are your toenails painted?
Blue.
Love
What
it.
color are your toenails painted?
They are green for St. Patty's Day.
Yes, nobody can pinch you.
No,
You're
no.
all set.
I've only gone
That's awesome.
one St. Patty's Day in my life where I didn't wear green, and after being pinched that day, I was like, never again.
That is not happening.
No.
That's
Um,
awesome. You're prepped.
Thank you. What would you say is your best personality trait?
Um, Maybe my sarcasm
I didn't hear that
because of
much.
my brothers.
I didn't hear that much sarcasm from you
I
today.
know, playful sarcasm. That's because yeah, I don't want to. Like, we've only just met, so just
I
give me
know, I
time.
know. It's very hard to offend me though.
And it's right. Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's the good thing. That hard to offend me too, because yeah, you just take it as fun.
hmm
So, and what's your best personality trait?
I'm a Gemini, so I have empathy and I have no filter.
Okay, I'll have to go with empathy myself as well. But that's a good combo. That's a
Yes,
good
it
combo.
is.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
what's your guilty pleasure?
Uh, just I would say chocolate, but really cake, like birthday cake, anything with a lot of icing. Just
Nice.
cupcake, birthday cake, tons of buttercream icing.
I love
That's my
that.
baddie.
Oh,
Oh
I'm diabetic
God.
now. I wish I could have that. I used to
Yeah,
have it
I
more
know, right?
often.
Right. I have to try and stay away from it, but yeah. So that would be my baddie. And what is your guilty pleasure?
Pizza and watching a raunchy sex comedy movie.
Rocky, as in Rocky Balboa.
No, a raunchy sex comedy
Okay,
movie.
I said Rocky,
No,
and I'm
no,
like, wait, wait, are you talking about Stallone?
no, no.
Oh, okay, okay, there you go. That's some
Watching
fun stuff.
watching like Animal House or Porky's or
Oh yeah,
the
but
40-Year-Old Virgin, stuff like that.
okay, yeah, those are fun. Those are fun. I didn't even think about how raunchy Fast Times at Ridgemont High was until I rewatched it
Oh
recently.
yes,
I mean, it's good. That was racy for the times, right?
yes, and it's also got a serious message, against teen pregnancy and all of
Yeah.
that stuff.
Mhm.
It
Right.
had a lot of issues in it, and
Yeah.
the studio wanted to bury it, and then it became a cult classic.
Right. Yeah. And it sure has got so many of those movies. See, and even some of the best movies are out of the '80s too.
Yes. Oh God, so many,
Yeah.
and they're all on my shelf right now.
Yep. I got many myself, as I keep also collecting them, along with some horror stuff. And
And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
oh God, you know, having been a parent
Yeah.
and a dog owner, um, I would say just the smell of mold.
hmm
There's smellier things, but the smell of mold scares me because we had gotten mold in on my house, and my daughter got really sick, and we had to move out, and it was a whole deal. And that's just that smell of mold. It was going on under our tiled in jacuzzi tub in the bathroom.
Ooh.
And he opened that up and he's like, run. It was the mold specialist. Run, go to the house. So, that anytime I smell mold, I get like, oh my God. And I run for it. So it's mostly a scary smell, I would say, which is weird. But
Yeah.
what about you? What is just the stinkiest smell you cannot handle?
Either farts or feet.
Parts or feet?
Yeah.
The two, the two F's,
Yes.
the double F's.
I had a guest once. She told me that should be the name of my memoir, Farts and Feet.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think I would do
It'll
that.
it'll
Yeah.
sell a million. No, do it. It'll sell a million.
No, you know
You
what?
just say,
You know what? I don't think I would do that, but I would definitely put the blurb on the back of the book.
you would have to do that. Parts and feet. This whole book.
Yeah, the name of this book should be called Farts and Feet.
Right, right, exactly. That's the last chapter.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about all the stinky, smelly things in my life. That is
Lori, thank you
hysterical.
so much for coming on today. You've been
Oh,
just a lot of fun.
thank you for having me, Tommy. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Really.
And I'm so glad we're following each other on Instagram. I'm just looking forward
Yeah.
to seeing all the stuff you post from the 80s, all the
Thank
pictures and the
you.
videos and stuff.
Okay, thank you so much. It's fun, going back in time
Yeah.
and remembering everything. And as I find things in my attic and my different places there, I just love to post. Like you shall see the Tracy Guns, LA Guns Polaroid soon. I'm gonna post that and ask Tracy how the heck he got that from me. But anyway, yeah, it's been a blast, Tommy. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. You have a great day and be safe out there and don't let this rain get the better of you.
Yeah, hopefully. We were supposed to have lightning yesterday. That didn't happen. But
No.
we had got some more wind, but luckily it was wet wind and no more fires. So, yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Sayonara, and I will talk at you soon.
Well, there you have it. Lori Tucker, ain't she a sweetheart? Oh my God, she is so awesome. Great laugh, great sense of humor, great energy. Oh my God, that was a great talk. And those were great stories about being part of that LA rock scene in the 80s and being in those music videos. Oh my God, what a dream, huh? And nothing scandalous happened. She's been living her life happily ever since. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.